Hello, my traveling nomads. In this week's news, we got a lot to cover. And I mean, from the police being arrested to Carnival Cruise changing their cabin policies to Norwegian changing their menu. There's a lot. Let's get started. All right. You heard me right when I said police being arrested. So last month in December, Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office started an investigation into one of their officers. Apparently, this officer sold drugs to a confidential informant. And the informant went ahead and told him that he was selling the drugs out of Skittles bags, the candy. The informant also told Miami-Dade investigators that the officer was due to go on a cruise and that he was going to be taking drugs on the cruise. With that information, a search warrant was issued, and Mr. Francisco Mello was stopped right after he parked before he was able to get into the cruise terminal. They asked him if they could search the car, and he consented because he figured, I don't have anything to hide, this candy. And when they did a search, they had a canine, and the canine alerted to something. So when they checked the candy, it looked like candy, according to reports. It looked like candy, but when it was tested, 5 of the 6 bags that he had were MDMA pills. So yes, he was arrested right there on site before he even got on the cruise ship. Goodness. Listen, guys, I know that everybody likes to sneak in, a drink or, whatever. Everybody tries to sneak something into the cruise ship. You guys got to be careful. You're going to get caught. The cruise is temporary. The cruise is 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 14 days, and then you're back home. So you can do without whatever it is you're trying to sneak in, okay? Let's move on. So Norwegian Cruise Lines Holdings have finally broken ground on a 2-ship pier over at their private island, Stirrup Cay. So no more tendering soon. It should be completed by the end of this year. So next year, definitely no more tendering. Y'all just gonna pull up and get off the ship. Norwegian is also changing their menus. They are getting rid of a large portion of their menu based on a survey that they did, and it's going to go based on what people eat least. Carnival Cruise Lines, effective February 1st, guests 21 and under must be traveling with a relative or guardian 25 and over. Guests 14 and under must be in the same cabin or connecting cabin. If they're 15 to 17, they can have separate rooms, but they have to be within 3 staterooms of the guardian that they're with. Disney Cruise Lines has increased their gratuity. Their non-concierge rooms were $14.50 per person per day, and now they're $16 per person per day. Their concierge rooms were $23.50, and they're now $27.25 per person per day. Additionally, they have new luggage tag system going on. They're changing colors, and it's going to be based on each cruise ship. And there are no barcodes anymore. It's going to have your room numbers. Iceland has passed a legislative bill where they are now going to charge every cruise passenger $18 per person per day that they are in port. This new bill has now caused several cruise lines to cancel their stops in Iceland. Ports in Iceland are expecting approximately 80 fewer cruise ships this year because of the bill. Norway is now considering doing the same thing. Speaking of Iceland, have you ever been to Iceland? I just came back from Iceland. I highly recommend it. Put in the comments and let me know, have you been there? And if not, is it on your bucket list? I think you should put it on your bucket list. Last but not least, we have Japan. If you're traveling to Japan, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot bring any types of prescriptions or over-the-counters. You have to check with their website. It's the Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare. I'll go ahead and link it in the description below. If you need to bring any type of medication, you have to get what's called an importation certificate. That website will give you all the information you need regarding that. If you think that you're going to be taking any type of medication with you, whether it's over-the-counter meds, allergy meds, depression, ADHD, you must get that certificate, and it does take several weeks to process. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the information that I gave you today. If you did, go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next week.